The second legislative change that we've seen, actually statewide in Washington, is a graduated real estate excise tax. Hi, this is Alina Allward with Allward & Associates Real Estate. Thank you so much for watching my February market update. Right now we have just under 1,100 active units on the market at a median price of $405,000. One thing that's really interesting about this month is we actually have more pending units than active units, which is very rare to see this. We have about 1,200 pending units right now, while we only have 1,100 active units on the market. So we're still really struggling for inventory. Last month we had just under 500 sold properties at a median price of $382,000. Now in January, we had just over 700 new listings that came on the market, but that's about 15% less than we saw this time last year. So again, we're really not catching up with the inventory that we normally see this time of year. In fact, we're at just 1.5 months of inventory. Our median days on market right now is 36 days. So even though things are selling, it's still taking a little bit longer for them to actually sell. One of the exciting things we've seen over the last 30 days happen in real estate is we've had rates at 3-year lows. Right now, the average mortgage interest rate is somewhere around 3.5%. So if you're considering refinancing or on the fence about purchasing, now just might be the right time to pull the trigger. Previously, I've broken down the market into 3 different segments: 0 to 400,000, 400 to 700,000, and $700,000 plus. I thought it'd be appropriate to do this again as we're heading into 2020 and now actually in our second month. So there's actually some big differences that we're still seeing in these price ranges. For example, from 0 to 400,000, we only have 0.6 months of inventory, barely anything on the market. But you contrast that to prices that are over 700,000 and we have 6.9 months of inventory, and the median days on market is 111 days. Now, one of the interesting segments we've been looking at, and our median price is growing closer and closer to being in, is the $400,000 to $700,000 range. Right now, we have about 2.9 months of inventory in that range, and the median days on market is 42. But with a lot of new construction listings coming on the market in January, we're now at 65% of our inventory between 400,000 and 700,000 being new construction. Now, one thing that's really interesting to know is over the last 12 months, 14.5% of all of our transactions have been cash transactions, while only 13.9% have been financed through an FHA loan. So the trend that we're actually seeing is more people are putting a higher down payment on their homes instead of doing 0 down programs and actually creating more equity in their homes. Now, there are 2 legislative changes I wanted to tell you about that affect homeowners in Clark County. On February 11th, several new school levies were passed. Now, you might be asking yourself, how does this affect the real estate industry? School levies are typically attached to the property taxes, so they raise the funds for these school levies by actually increasing property taxes. Now, this was just passed in Washougal, Woodland, and Vancouver public schools. So if you live in one of those areas, you might be affected by that. The second legislative change that we've seen, actually statewide in Washington, is a graduated real estate excise tax. So if you weren't aware, our previous excise tax rate was 1.78% on any sale in Clark County. Now, this is usually paid by the seller and paid at closing. Starting in 2020, the new real estate excise taxes have become graduated. So for example, if you sell a home under $500,000, the new excise tax rate is 1.6%. Between $500,000 and $1.5 million, it's at 1.78%. Now, the biggest difference we've seen are on home sales over $1.5 million. A seller that's selling a home between $1.5 to $3 million is now actually paying 3.25% in real estate excise tax. And anything over $3 million is at 3.5%. Now, for most homeowners, this is actually a positive change because most of our transactions actually do take place under that $500,000 range. Thank you so much for watching. If you're liking our videos, make sure to share or comment below and let us know.